Hey y'all, I think we are officially live on here. If you're on here, give this a like and let me know you can hear me and everything's good. It is day one of the Balance on Broadway. There we go. All right. Hey guys, welcome. Yay. Okay, so welcome. Day one of the 5-day Balanced Broadway Life Challenge. I'm Bret Shuford. I'm an actor and the Broadway life coach. Some of you, most of you are in this group now, so you know a little bit about me. This is the first time I've ever done a challenge like this to such a massive audience, so I'm so excited to sort of dig in, give you guys a sample of what life coaching is all about, and hopefully give you some really powerful tools this week. Now, here's how the Facebook training sessions here are going to work, right? I have a script. I'm just letting you know I'm keeping track of my script because otherwise I will forget things. If you didn't see my post on Instagram a minute ago, I can be a little bit ADD, so I have to keep on track and I don't want to forget anything. So this is how the Facebook trainings are going to work. I'm going to go over the day's lesson first. So it would be really helpful if you have your worksheet in front of you, which you should have gotten emailed this morning, but it's totally not mandatory, right? This video will be available for you to watch later today if you need to go back and catch up, or if you want a refresher, if it goes too fast, you want to go back over it. But if you didn't get this, make sure you register on balanceonbroadway.com and you should be able to get it in your inbox. Okay. Then at the end of the training with that, I'm going to open it up to Q&A. My assistant Priscilla is going to be on here for part of this. So hi, Priscilla. I know she's on here probably watching. She can answer some questions during the training, but I'm going to not be looking at comments while we're doing it, just so I can make sure I finish the lesson. And then, so, you know, you're giving me smiley faces and thumbs up, hopefully. But let's save the questions for the end, and I'll try to address them when we get there. Or if something comes up, leave it in the comments, and I'll go through and make sure they get answered. Cool? Now, before we start, do me a favor, take a screenshot or take a photo or a boomerang of this right now. Share it on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and make sure you tag me at Bret Shuford. And we're going to use the hashtag Balance on Broadway, hashtag Balance on Broadway. Let's get as many people in our community really balancing themselves, balancing in their lives. That's my big goal as the Broadway life coach, is to shift the energy within our industry from one where fulfillment seems to be exceptional, where fulfillment becomes the norm. So do me a favor, take a little screenshot, share it. Thank you. Okay. Now, I really want this week, I know this week is going to be super powerful for you. So at the end of this week, you may want to take it further, all right? If so, don't worry, I'll be offering a limited amount of special private coaching sessions to help you integrate all the things you're going to be learning this week. If you're interested in learning more about that, that's not what this is for. This is actually totally free. But if you're interested in learning more about taking it further, message me. And I'll tell you and give you more information about that. Cool? All right. Now, for some of you who don't know me, this is a little bit about me. I've been in multiple Broadway shows, including most recently Cirque du Soleil's Paramour, where I played Robbie. I've also managed to break boundaries by acting in major motion pictures, indie films, television commercials, and over the last few years, I've built a YouTube channel and created and produced a lot of video content, more coming. If you haven't subscribed, check it out. Look, I love performing. I love storytelling. I love collaborating with other artists. My true passion is and will always be the theater. But over time, I've also discovered that I really love helping people. So I got my certification as a life coach and started the Broadway Life Coach. Before I moved to New York, I've been here for going on 20 years. I grew up in a small town in Texas, way before internet, right? So to me, the world seemed huge and New York seemed really far away and impossible. But I was also ambitious and outgoing and slightly flamboyant. And, I didn't really let being in a small town stop me. And that's something that's always been inherent in who I am. There weren't a lot of people in my life that had followed that path. So most of the time I really had to learn to believe in myself and to believe in something that seemed impossible. Once my dreams were fully realized, I noticed that I could become a guide for other people, that people who maybe didn't know what direction to take. Up until now, I've only offered private coaching to paid clients. So this is my first time, as I said, kind of taking my coaching to a grander scale. So thank you for joining me. You see, I just realized that so many people in this industry are struggling with the same thing, which is finding balance while pursuing their dreams. We are constantly trying to believe in, something that we can't see. So how do we continue to function in the world that we do see? So today, day one, this is all about what I titled being a goal getter. Thought it was cute. How do you set yourself up to reach your dreams in a way that doesn't make you totally bonkers, right? And it starts right here, right now. This week is going to be your new beginning. So tell me if you can relate to this. If you can relate to this, give it a thumbs up, all right? Now, I had one vision in my mind as a young person, and that was to be on Broadway. I had no deadline. I had no picture of what that would look like. I just knew that I was going to make it happen. And, blind faith is amazing, but reality can sometimes hit you like a brick wall. Once I finally booked a Broadway show, I wasn't even sure what to do, right? I was trying to do it all. I was taking classes. I was taking voice lessons. I was doing commercial workshops. I was taking dance class. I was taking casting director workshops. I was doing scene study. I was going to open auditions. I was doing agent appointments. I was doing modeling go-sees. Some great stories around that. And survival work to try to make some income, right? I was spinning my wheels so much and I was seeing very little ROI, return on investment, right? Before I continue, I just want to check in, make sure everyone can hear. Great. So I realized that creating balance for me wasn't about trying to do everything at once, right? It was about accomplishing one thing at a time. And the turning point for me was when I made a personal decision to get sober, right? I knew that I wasn't reaching my potential, but I didn't know what was getting in the way. I mean, for me, and I'm just being, total full disclosure here, a weekly occurrence for me would be to get blackout drunk. I had no idea how to handle booze or other substances. It was not something that was in my arsenal to handle. So I made a decision to get sober one day at a time. And within 3 months, I booked my first Broadway show. Now, I'm not saying that you need to quit drinking today, right? However, if you are concerned, you're not alone. There is help. Feel free to reach out. But I am saying that balance comes from committing to one thing at a time, right? Sometimes it even takes 1 minute at a time. It also starts from self-care, right? Strengthening yourself as a human so that your path to success is supported by a healthy person. You probably heard people say putting the oxygen mask on yourself before trying to put it on others, right? You want to make yourself as healthy as possible so that your worth isn't just put into what you do, right? Now let's talk about goals. This would be a good time to open up the worksheet that I sent, today's worksheet. If you're following along on the go, if you're driving, don't worry. Don't worry, you can catch this and replay after, right? Now, if you haven't subscribed to the challenge yet and you want the worksheet, subscribe, balanceonbroadway.com, just in case anyone joined in late. Now, goals have a bit of a stigma. Some people feel that goals limit you. If I commit to this one thing, well, what if I get something else? I want to be open to all possibilities, right? We aren't setting a goal today, right, to limit you. We're setting a goal to give you structure. You see, one thing I've learned over the years is that with structure comes freedom, which is such an opposite thing to think, especially as a creator. But imagine that Okay, imagine that your career path is like a trail in the woods. And when we're trying to walk on a Broadway path, a TV path, a commercial path, a modeling path, all at the same time, we're basically taking all of our energy and we're spreading ourselves so thin that we make no progress to get out of the woods. However, when we walk on one path towards one goal, sometimes other paths might intersect, right? Which allows us to detour for a moment, but always having that single path to guide us out of the woods, right? So here's where we start. And I don't want to say you're not going to be able to do it all. You can do it all. You just can't do it all at once. I love that. Now, on your worksheet, I want you to start, and maybe hopefully you've already done this. Just make a list of 5 goals you want to accomplish most in your life as of right now, like right now in this moment, right? So for me, it might be something like, very broadly, right? Broad goals here: Broadway, television, commercials, husband, film, right? So I'm going to give you a minute to write down what you think those might be, and check in and see if there's anything that's popped up in the group. Thanks, Heidi. Great, John. Yeah, go rehearse. Do well. Thanks, Ladarian. Okay. Thanks, Juwan. I love these people. Okay. So you've got, if you're not done with the list yet, no problem. Just, you can come back to it. I'll even use an example in a minute. So don't feel rushed. Don't feel on the spot. All right. Now I want you to take each of those 5 goals, and I want you to rate each goal on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being take it or leave it. 10 being I can't leave this planet without it. Right, I'm going to give you another minute to rank those, okay? I was going to play Disney music while we did this, but I feel like the delay just doesn't make it possible. I will put on the new Shauna Bean album, which is like everything. Where is it? So good. Okay. Hopefully you've rated all of those. Hey, Peter. Oh, great. Yes, Disney. Yes, do it. Well, I think there's not enough time because I want to play like a full Disney song and there's just not enough time. Okay. For those of you who are new to me, I love Disney. Okay. You probably figured that out. All right. I'll give you, okay, hopefully you've ranked those. Okay, I want you just to pick the goal you ranked a 10, or maybe in some cases an 11. All right, and then let's just put the other 4 goals on the back burner. If you didn't get a 10 or 11, what's the highest ranked one, right? Let's just focus on that one. I want you to take the other ones, just put them on the back burner for the next 6 months, all right? I promise you, this doesn't mean you want to accomplish them. This is just put them on the back burner, put them in your notes, set a reminder, but let's just remember that these are there for you to reevaluate in the future. We want to go towards the thing that lights you up right now. For this circumstance, right, for me, like the big goal is Broadway, right? So let's use that as an example of how to make this actionable, doable, and make this clear, okay? So we're going to apply the acronym SMART. You probably have heard of this for goal setting. If you haven't, great, even better, right? So SMART is an acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, reasonable, and timely. SMART. So first I want you to look at your goal, right? And we're going to get specific first. We're going to start by making things specific. If you're an actor in here, we know how much specificity helps us as an actor. The same applies for your career. If Broadway is the goal, would you be happy with just any Broadway show? There's lots to do in a Broadway show. Would you happy being a swing, an understudy, a dancer, a singer, a character, a replacement, wardrobe, right? Get specific. If I was doing this for myself right now, I would say it would be to book a principal contract in a production, on a production contract, right? So book a principal on a production contract. So that would include for me a tour or a tiered production contract. I'd be totally fine with that if it's a principal. But that's where I'm at. So where are you? You know, for some people, a lot of my private clients who come to me who haven't booked a Broadway show yet, they are, they want to book a reputable theater company, right? If they're not a musical performer, it's a reputable theater company in New York. Some people, I want to book a CETA contract or higher, ensemble understudy. So, right. So for you, what's that? So for television clients of mine, some of the private clients I get who do television, I want to book a co-star or a guest star, right? So let's get specific on what, and sometimes it's even a guest star on a Netflix series, right? To really look at what that is and make it as specific as you want, right? This is just an exercise. We're not locking anything in here. You're not signing this deal in blood, okay? Now, we're going to apply the next letter of the acronym, M, measurable. Now, how will you know that accomplishing your goal happened? For me, right, I will know because I will have signed a contract, a production contract. If your goal is television, maybe it's to book at least 2 co-stars or have at least 2 callbacks. So you can measure it, right? Okay, and we're setting this goal for 6 months, right? So, I mean, that's what I'm targeting here. You could make it longer if you want, but six months is, I think, a really good goal in this business because it changes so much. So right now, what is that? What makes your goal measurable? And sometimes it's that simple. Like for me, you sign a contract. Sometimes it's, okay, I'll know I've had 2 callbacks for this many things. So I'm heading towards that direction, right? Towards that goal. The next letter in the acronym is A, achievable. Now, is this goal possible to achieve? This is really a yes or no question, right? It's achievable because of my experience, right? It's achievable because I'm in New York, right? Are you even in New York to book a Broadway show or production contract? Because that's where all the production contracts happen, right? So that's the next letter, okay? A, achievable. R, reasonable. This is about being realistic to a degree. Like, what proof do you have that this is possible? If you've never acted in your life, booking a recurring role in the next 6 months is impossible. I mean, it could happen, but let's just say it's impossible, right? So make sure you factor in your current path. What makes this achievable for you? For me, right, I've understudied in several Broadway shows and I've played a principal role on Broadway. So I do think it's an achievable goal for me in 6 months if the opportunities are there, right? So it's opportunity plus preparation. For you, booking a Broadway show, how many callbacks have you had at this point? How many casting directors know you? How long have you been in the city, right? So those are things that you want to factor in to make this a reasonable goal. So I would often, we would often reevaluate that. Might change your goal. That's okay, right? So maybe it's, I want to book a regional show or a couple regional shows. Maybe it's, you know, I want to move to New York and get 6 months of training, right? Whatever that is for you. Really, you can use that. We want to make it reasonable because this is really about making this accomplishable, right? And then the last letter is T, timely. Always give your goal a timeline. A deadline, right? 6 months is a good goal when starting fresh, especially in this business where all these opportunities are just beyond our control. There's so many things we cannot control. Okay, so hopefully I kind of did that pretty quickly, but let me just see if there's any comments. Good point. April, sit background music. Okay, tomorrow I will play background music, I promise, during the exercise. And maybe it'll be like, I don't know, fantastic. Okay, great. So we've gotten through all the 5 letters of the SMART goal, right? I want you to just look and see how your goal perhaps has evolved. Look on your worksheet. Now, I want you to take all these additions to our goal, and I want you to take it and turn it into a statement. For instance, using the time, using everything we just did, right? I would say on August 8th, 2018, I will have at least 2 callbacks for a principal role in a production contract. To me, that feels that resonates. A callback, like 2 callbacks in 6 months for a lead, it feels possible. If it's more, great, but 2 is great. That sets me up for success. We don't want to say I want to have, 1 a month, because there's just too many things out of our control. So we want to set ourselves up for success. If it's 1 a month, great. But if it's at least 2, I will be happy with that. And I want you to sit and think, if that happens, and really take that moment in, will I be content? And for me, yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Also, this doesn't negate if other things come along your path, right? So if your true passion, if your number 1 goal right now is Broadway, but along the way you book a TV show or something else comes along, great, do it. It doesn't mean like, sorry, agent, I'm not going to do this national commercial because I'm focusing on Broadway. Do it. Take those opportunities. But you want to stay focused on your goal. You want to base your auditions, right? The people you're getting to know, your expenses, your money, your classes. You want to find a target list of casting directors. They're going to help you achieve that goal. You want to base your networking events, your time and your efforts and your energy off of this goal so you're not spreading yourself so thin, right? If I commit to my goal, I'm not going to take a commercial class right now. I'll use my resources to meet and build relationships with people that cast and work on production contracts, right? So this is about being efficient. So I want to hear from some of you. What are your 10 goals? Like what's your 10, 11? What questions do you have around the SMART process? I'm going to start with those questions first, and then I'm going to take a more general coaching questions. So for right now, I want you to type in your questions for this specific goal setting exercise, and I'm going to address them. Cool? Who's got questions for me? Oh, by the way, I'm drinking iced coffee because I love coffee. Great. April, 1 goal is to book auditions with professional companies. Okay, so what I would do for you, April, is get a little bit more specific. Booking an audition is not necessarily a goal. Auditions are a process along that goal, right? So for you, the goal would be, I want to have built relationships. Let's say 6 months from now, how many auditions will you have had? And when you say professional companies, does that mean equity? Does that mean non-equity? Are you okay with non-union? There's a lot of theater there. So really think about what kind of theater you want to do and refine that goal. So one goal is to book at least one. To me, the goal should be booking the work, right? Not booking auditions. Book at least one ensemble or understudy in at least one reputable theater company in Chicago, right? If it's more, even better. Best way to get in contact with people with theater companies is most theater companies, my advice is to be a part of that theater company, to start showing up to events. In theater, it's all about the person to person, right? You have to show up, you have to be consistent, you have to sort of become part of their thing. Every time there's a show that opens, you're there and you shake hands with the artistic director and you get to be known. Yeah. Also, getting in touch with consistently with artistic directors and literary managers at theater companies. Jordan, great. One goal is to book a $600 a week contract, musical play, theme park. But I feel like I need to work on getting more material before just hitting auditions every week. How should I break this down? Well, first off, what I would look at here is, why do you feel like you need to get more material, right? It's not about waiting for the right time, right? It's about getting it done. It's about not allowing yourself to be imperfect, which is a scary thing for us. If you have two songs in your book that work for you, that sell you, that like represent your skills, that's all you need. It may not be the perfect thing for that job, but they get to know who you are, and that's what's more important. So that's the first thing I would say is, don't worry about trying to do it perfectly, just do it. It's where something just rang in my ear. What is that? What did Lance just say? I hope that helped, Jordan. Give me a thumbs up if it did. Okay. One goal, book 2-3 non-union shows, build resume, and get my equity card. I have majority college credits and don't want to jump into being union too early. Advice. Great question. This comes up a lot with especially college people, like getting your equity card. Here's the thing. I think getting your equity card, I think, that is, even building your resume, that's not a goal, right? Booking work is the goal. So 2-3 non-union shows, but doing what in those shows? Are you going to be happy in the ensemble? Then great. Book ensemble and 2-3 shows. I think make it really solid. Is it 2 or is it 3? Great. And your equity card will be a result of booking work. Getting an agent will be a result of booking work. If you're putting your effort on the work and building relationships, those things are going to be a natural thing that happens. Your equity card is not, I personally don't think it's a goal unless you've reached your limit, right? Unless you've had multiple years of professional work and you're at a point where you're like, I'm ready to play at this level. But when you're starting off, just focus on the work. Are you right for the show? Who's casting it? How do I get in front of them? Right? Those are all things that I've helped a lot of private clients sort of focus and get in on. Cool. Good job, Sam. And yeah, I think it's smart. Don't focus on getting your union card unless it happens. If it comes in front of you and you're like, I'm playing at this level, sweet. Okay. Anybody else want to share their goals on here? Okay. Good. Great, Sam. I'm glad I could help. All right, so let's see. If there's no other questions, any other questions people have in general? Anything you want to know about me? General questions? Throw them my way. Imagination. Favorite Disney musical? Go. On stage? Ugh, I love doing Beauty and the Beast. Loved doing Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. It was magical, and I would have done that show forever. But I left that to do Little Mermaid on Broadway. What survival job did you have starting out? Great question. And I actually think I'm going to do a video series. Somebody gave me an angry face. Weird. Okay. My first survival job, I worked when I first moved to New York. I was pretty lucky. I was in college my first 2 years, and I worked consistently after college. I worked as a temp, though, after 9/11. Then I worked doing sample sales, and the sample sales were actually really cool. I mean, I worked with like some great people, like Karen Olivo and all these other people. And then and then I had my own job. This was when my sort of entrepreneurial bug came in. I was an apartment painter. I did faux finishing, and I studied faux finishing, and I painted apartments, and I loved doing that. And in fact, I painted my apartment, as you can see. And then I've had multiple jobs since then. I was a tour guide. I've been an administrative assistant. I worked in a showroom at a fashion place. I've had a lot of survival jobs because I don't sit still. I did work at a restaurant briefly, but I didn't like it, so I just pursued other things. And that's something we're gonna talk about later on in the week. Cherise. Oh wait, it's Karis. I did that last time I saw you. Hi, Karis. Goal: work on new works with playwrights. It's a great idea. So how you want to develop new works with playwrights. So where are the new works coming out of, right? How do you get on the radars of those people? Where do you meet the writers? Where do you meet the artistic directors and the literary managers? And that is where the marketing and stuff and getting in front of those people should be focused. How did you balance the survival jobs and auditions? You just do it. You just find a way. The survival job, and this is something we'll talk about on Thursday. So April, this is coming up for you. I think you'll be really happy when you finish this week, because we'll dig into that and balancing all of that. Cool. What is your process when you really want a job to get close to getting and then don't? Okay, so great question. Usually my first reaction is very deep disappointment, and you are allowed to be disappointed. I always think, a lot of people go, how do you handle rejection? I don't really consider it rejection. It's disappointment. You get disappointed. And if you can evolve your brain from thinking of it like they don't like me, because it's not the truth. There's so many things out of your control. Your race, eye color, hair color, height, who's related to the director. I mean, there's just so many things you can't control. It's not rejection. It's disappointment. Right? So you're allowed to be disappointed. When you lose something, you get disappointed. When you lose money, you get disappointed, right? So what I do is I give myself a day. I give myself sometimes just an hour to eat a cheeseburger and be upset. And then you move on. Then it's like, okay, instead of like, instead of focusing on what I lost, okay, what can I gain? What can I look at next? What am I going to do with that energy? Hope that helps, Peter. Mia, love you, Mia. Do you recommend getting an agent before auditioning for a lot of professional theater, like to help narrow your focus and find the best options? Or should I start auditioning for whatever I can? Great question. I don't It is much easier to book good work than to get a good agent. And that's the truth. So start going for the work. Mia, because I know you're in Florida. You guys have access to, you could drive down to South Florida, the Miami area. There's so much theater down there. Cruise ships, with that voice, you could be booking cruise jobs and making a shit ton of money. Sorry, guys, I cuss. Get over it. And you could be, getting in and making money and learning so much through doing those cruise ship jobs or doing theater down in that area. So I think it's just really about finding every opportunity you can and not waiting for somebody else to come in and do that work for you. Because here's the thing, even once you get an agent, they only do 10% of the work. It's up to you to do the 90. And that's the truth. Goal, Katie, book a tenor, traditionally male role in the Pacific Northwest. I'm trans, non-binary. Oh, that's awesome. Book a tenor, traditionally male role in the Pacific. So, I don't know the Pacific Northwest theater community as well, but I imagine with Seattle being Fifth Avenue and they're pretty forward thinking. To me, it would be about getting in with the creatives there and pitching with it's so with Once on This Island being having some non-binary performers in that show. It's a very I guess I won't say trendy, but it's like what's happening now. So get in there, get to know the artistic director, even just going to an open audition and setting up a meeting or singing the material that you want to sing. Yeah. That's a great idea. I love it. And I also think, my big thing is don't wait for somebody else to bring it to you. Create it. Do it yourself. If you want to produce, you want to get something up, do a reading and mount it and invite people to be there. You guys, don't wait to create. All right, good. Mia, Peter, great. Any other questions? If not, I think we'll wrap this up. Okay. Cool. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me day one. Hopefully you feel like you've left here with a focus, a goal. If you need to go back over this is going to be playing live in this group ad infinitum. So you can come back and watch this and go through the steps. And just remember that this is fluid, right? Setting a goal right now, if you want to change your goal next week, that's okay, right? If you start on your path and you're like, you know what, this doesn't feel right, you can go back through this process again and create a new goal for yourself. It's really important that we understand that a career in this, a path in this career is a process, right? That we have to let go of these results and thinking that if we haven't done something, we failed. If we get into a process, we're in this for the long haul. So we want to be able to be fluid and allow ourselves to be human beings in this. And so I believe in you. I know that this can happen for you. You have to believe in yourself. All right. Thank you for joining me. Tomorrow we will do Know Thyself. So look in your inbox. You'll get your form for tomorrow. I can't wait to continue this week. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.